Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this special Concilium episode. I think probably for at least all of us on here, the first time we saw this guy was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Safe to say.
Well, not so much saw him as
Well, yeah. Maybe Red October for you?
Yeah, probably Sandlot. The Sandlot.
Sandlot? Oh, yeah. There you go.
Maybe.
This is a Disney Channel, though.
I know. All right.
That's okay. We'll talk about Coming to America as well. That's not.
I was just about to mention that.
Conan the Barbarian.
I love Conan.
But yes, we are
enemies. See them driven before you.
We are talking James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Gotta say it in deep voice.
Yeah, it's one of those like iconic voices, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Udi's here.
Yay.
We get started.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we literally just started. So
all right, cool, excellent. Didn't miss much.
Just saying we were talking James Earl Jones, and that for probably most of us, I'm sure you're included. The first time you probably heard about this guy was from Star Wars.
Yep.
Jeff said Sandlot, so that's cool too.
It was the Sandlot. I'm
Sandlot's
a product
good.
of the 80s and 90s, so and you don't know, like Star Wars was hidden from my generation, us older millennials, for a while, and then they released it, in VHS.
That was the time when they were trying to hide the originals, I think, right?
Well, I'm talking like early 90s, so I don't think I even watched Star Wars until like maybe 93, 94. And somebody can fact check me. It's when they started re-releasing all three on
That's
VHS.
when the special editions came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still got that somewhere.
Sorry, got a text. Okay. Yeah. So, who wants to start talking about him and like memories of when you first heard about him, heard his voice, as you say?
I remember being 6 in the cinema, watching Star Wars as it was before it was called A New Hope, and seeing Darth Vader come on screen. And it was like, wow. Because it wasn't only the presence of him, the size of him, and what he was, but it was the sound of him as well.
Well, I'm the same with you. My earliest memory would have been that, but would have been Return of the Jedi, because that was the first one that I saw in the theater as about 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
And having that presence and that kind of just, you can't see the image of Darth Vader without hearing that iconic voice.
Yeah.
Even beyond that, you think of all the films he's been in, and you say Sandlot, that's one of the ones that a lot of people like don't even think about, because he's it's a small role, but it's really pivotal, but it's so great. It's funny because it's just he's been so part of everything in different ways that it's hard to quantify. Like, that's why it's such a big deal that he's passed, and it's so sad. And I think a lot of people would be shocked if they understood how deep his career is and how much he's done.
Yeah. It's funny, the Sandlot, like for me, maybe I have just a different, I think of what's the story. What is my story with James Earl Jones, seeing him in movies and things like that? Well, it was the Sandlot, because the Sandlot sort of set the foundation for me. So anytime I saw James Earl Jones, saw or heard, I go, oh, it's him. And so, and you said the word pivotal, which I think is absolutely true. It's like the Sandlot was its own movie, its thing. But James Earl Jones, like, it built up the beast, this dog that was like, and then when they finally meet the guy next door, he's like, what'd you do? He's very stern and strict. And then he just breaks characters like, wow, and that the smile and the warmth, and I think with James Earl Jones, it's like he typically has either very stoic and his voice like Mufasa, but or like Darth Vader, where he's very caricature, but that was one of the best roles where he was just a sweetheart, and it was sort of like he had both the presence but the tenderness. So then for little Jeff that then went on to see Darth Vader, I'm like, oh, that's the Sandlot guy. I love this guy. Oh, Mufasa, oh, from the Sandlot. And so for me, setting the foundation of that heart from the Sandlot, where he's blind, he had a history, that vulnerability in his acting really set the stage for later on when I would see him or hear him or see him, and it set that foundation of he wasn't just a great performer. In acting, there's like, they call it ethos, pathos, logos. Ethos is like, okay, is he a good person? The pathos is the passion, and the logos is like the, well, and if you're like a public speaker, it's like, is it good information? Does it touch me in my head, my heart? And do I buy into the empathy that this is a good person? I think that guy, like James Earl Jones, had all three.
I never heard that before.
You're welcome.
I
You'll
just
forget it. It's fine.
You'll forget. You'll wake up and you're like, what was that? Pathos.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like the first time I heard from him was like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And then obviously as Mufasa, that voice just was, it's kingly. It is that regalness he had.
I keep wanting to think
and then
back.
coming to America.
Yeah.
Again. But I mean, I think as you know, I'm all like full of useless information. And but the one I love is the fact that him and Carrie Fisher never met until they filmed the episode of The Big Bang Theory together. It was the first time they met, and I think that's a great story.
But I think that's a lot for people who do voiceovers. They almost never meet until like the premiere of the movie or something.
Yeah.
But he was uncredited as the voice of Darth Vader for years.
Yeah.
Even though everybody knew it was him, he wasn't credited as being the voice of Darth Vader.
Well, I'm gonna get to that in a second too.
Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
No, it's fine. I keep thinking of that famous clip where they show
Dave Prowse actually talking the lines.
Yeah. It's like nowhere near.
Sam's got a story about him later, she can tell you.
Oh.
Is this the Milton Keynes story?
Yes.
Yeah.
But going back to not getting credited, and I didn't know this because I just read about this, but James Earl Jones was only paid $7,000 to do the voice for the first episode.
Yeah, because they didn't know whether it was going to be
Yeah.
any good. They didn't want to spend any money, did they?
And that's why
They'd
he
already
wasn't
overspent.
credited. It was just like, here, just do a voiceover and be on your way.
Yeah.
But it's now the fact we have lost every part of Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any actor that was associated with Darth Vader.
Brian Muir, who designed and built the armor, is still with us.
Yeah, but I mean the body of Darth, the
Voice
face and the voice.
and the stunt.
Stunts, yeah, he's gone as well.
Yeah, those four actors have gone now.
So what's the story?
The Milton Keynes story.
Dave Prowse. Sam had a lift.
Did you try to touch?
No. No, right. We were working at a common convention in Milton Keynes in like England, and
In the middle of England, in case anyone's wondering.
and it has lots of roundabouts. Our stall was next to where Dave Prowse was signing, and I've got arthritic knees, so I if they're playing up, I walk a bit oddly. And
It's understatement of the century. Sorry, carry on.
And I'd gone somewhere and I was walking back to our stall, and Dave had just had his knee replacements. So he was in a wheelchair and he's got his assistant pushing him.
What was that guy's name?
I don't know, I can't remember. It's just his assistant.
Sorry. Yeah.
And he looked at me and he went, "You right, girl?" I went, yeah, I'm fine. I said, "My knees are playing up." I said, "But you know all about that?" He went, yeah. He went, "You're on the stool next to me." I said, "Yeah, I am." And I've got a t-shirt that's it's like a printed version of Princess Leia's bikini, but it's in a t-shirt. And he was like, "Well, do you want to lift back?" I went, "What?" He went, "Hop on." So I sat on his lap and got pushed around the Milton Keynes bowl.
So you did touch him.
Oh, yeah.
We used to see him all the time when we were at Comic Con. So
Yeah, we did.
him and Jeremy Bullock, who played Boba Fett, we used to see him all the time.
Yeah.
Which was cool. But, yeah, she had a lift on Darth Vader with Darth Vader.
Like every couple of weeks we'd see both of them, so it was really nice. We got to know them both really well. Both perfect gentlemen.
I never got a lift, just saying.
That's because your knees aren't as bad as mine. That's why. But yeah, I mean, voice wise, I mean, if you think about like the great voices, it's James Earl Jones and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. If you want someone to narrate your life story or read you a bedtime story, it's got to be one of those two.
Yeah, agreed. Well, so, I think another one of the roles that were good is when he played with he played the same role in a few different movies with different leads. So one with Harrison Ford, it was Clear and Present Danger.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the Jack Ryan stuff. That was I love those films.
Yeah, great films, and he played that same character. And again, and then like you mentioned Coming to America, and it showed how he could play really versatile even in the same role. Like Coming to America, he has to play this king, but then he's got that weird like kind of naughty side to him, and it's just all right. But then you have the same thing with like in Hunt for Red October. He basically, if you're gonna follow the Jack Ryan character, he sets that kind of whole thing in mission. I mean, for when we get introduced to that character, at least I got introduced to that character, and he pushes him on his path and gets him going, which then, as I see it, it brought out a whole bunch of other different movies. So for me, he was always great in that too. And I don't remember exactly which one, but his character ended up passing away, I think, in one I don't remember which one. And I remember thinking, oh man, he's not going to be back. And that was kind of sad. Kind of like I was kind of putting him in the same thing where I was putting Q when he came to the 007 film. Like that connecting tissue between, even though the lead had changed, he was still there. So it was cool. Maybe that's another one. I remember I saw Hunt for Red October in the theater, and I think we were in row number 5. So I did a lot of that. A lot of that.
Yeah.
But I remember that, and it was good because again, you hear that iconic voice come across, and it's just you can hear him, and you don't got to see him. Field of Dreams is another one that I think a lot of people can associate with him. I mean, I've only seen the movie like twice, and it's been a long time since I've seen it, but you can't get away from that. That same very like, I don't know, it's fatherly, stoic, but yet has that sense of energy behind him. So
yeah, it's like effortless for him to. It's just his natural voice,
Mm-hmm.
But he can still have, the power behind it as Vader, but it's still soft when he's like in other movies,
And he has got a naughty and comedic side as well, and a softer side that most people wouldn't necessarily associate him with, I don't think. Yeah. But even in some of the Lion King, he's very tender when he's talking to Simba when he's younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what was nice about the Big Bang Theory episode was you saw Carrie as herself, Carrie
mad as a box of frogs.
Yeah, but he was up there with her. You know, he was just, and it was nice to see that comedic side of him. That, you know, I think a lot of us, obviously, we just see him as Darth Vader or Mufasa, but to actually see that comedic side to him was actually really nice. And it was lovely to see him and Carrie bouncing off of each other as well, which was.
What was that smirk for?
What? I was just
She said
laughing.
bouncing?
Carry on. She said bouncing. We're not going to break her again. We're not going there again. Just saying.
No, I'm going to be good today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that he was able to do, you know, reprise the voice for every Darth Vader thing out there, pretty much.
Yeah.
Video games even.
I read somewhere that Disney or he's allowed Disney, or is allowing Disney to
Continue.
AI his voice
Yeah.
for any further Star Wars films that it will involve Darth Vader. So, you know, it will be Darth, you know, voice wise.
Yeah, I'm sure they can work that out AI these days.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be. You can't have Darth Vader like in full armor. Obviously, when Hayden Christensen's doing his not quite turned or half broken Darth Vader,
Yeah.
that's different. But you can't have him in full kit without him having the voice. Because that would just be so wrong.
Yeah, but I had read that he'd arranged that before his passing, that Disney can AI his voice, like use his voice in an AI form.
It's too bad he didn't say Disney minus Bob Iger. I know. He's like, let's not go there.
Don't do it to me today.
No, you said you wanted this to be like less than an hour.
That's a whole different discussion.
I'm just saying, like, he could have made that deal. We could have solved this whole problem.
That is a whole different discussion.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, there are just some voices that are iconic.
Yeah.
And his is one of them.
Yeah. So what other roles did he have iconic? I mean, I guess we kind of talked about the repeating appearances in famous movies. I know he's done a lot of things. I wouldn't talk about Conan, actually.
Yeah.
With that awesome haircut.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. I've seen Conan.
You don't remember him in Conan?
I can't remember him in Conan.
Yes, can you find a picture of the character?
Yeah.
I am going to look, actually.
Let's see.
Oh, it's like great. It's bangs and like.
You know, imagine that your mum's put a bowl on your head. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's kind of mulleted it. So the short,
Mhm.
you got a fringe,
Right.
and the back is just, you know, it's just back. It's just back. It's like the worst haircut ever.
Oh, right. Okay.
It depends on what photo you're technically looking at.
There was a really good one that somebody posted on Facebook. I won't be able to find it now, obviously, because I'll be looking.
Obviously.
Let me see if
Sometimes
I
he
can find it.
has like a hood over his head. But I'm
That would obviously show me the haircut then, wouldn't it? If it's got hood over his head.
I found it.
I'm actually on what's it called?
Oh, this is the world's shittest, crappiest. I'm not swearing anymore. I've given up, haven't I? This is a really
yes, I remember now. Yes, I found it.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I remember. I'm
Look
actually
at
on IMDb looking at his film list. And yeah, there are so many films that you don't realise he's actually in.
He's been in so much stuff.
Yeah, do you remember Soul Man
Mhm.
from the 80s?
Yeah.
He was in that.
I can't remember Darth Vader being in Conan the Barbarian.
I just saw that photo.
Driving Miss Daisy.
Oh yeah, he was in that as well.
Yeah. Fantasia 2000.
Yeah, he did a bit in that.
Voiced part of that. Disney's American Legends. Never heard of it, but there you go.
Steve's probably seen it.
Yeah,
Bit old.
bit old. Where's the other one? Summersby. It's a good period one.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one. I don't remember him in that.
I don't
No,
remember the whole movie at all.
Because it's not the kind of thing we'd probably watch, Jace. That's why.
Jeff, we're talking about other movies he was in.
Uh-huh.
We were just mentioning
yeah.
Conan.
And terrible
yeah.
haircut.
God, I love Conan.
because
I just bought a
couldn't remember
I just bought a
what
Conan
it looked like
action
in it.
figure yesterday. I make no apologies. I'm like, I just got paid. What do I buy? Conan action figure just popped up on my Facebook feed. I'm like, I'm getting that.
Yeah,
They
That's
had him
why-
too, actually. They had James Earl Jones too.
That'd be kind of cool to get.
Yeah.
I had money yesterday, so I bought 4 new mugs.
There you go.
There you
Obviously,
go. Love it.
If you can't see behind her, but they're all mugs.
Get your head out of the way.
hang on.
No chair's in the way. Look, all bloody much. She's got hundreds of the things. I don't collect anything.
Anything but boba.
know what you mean.
And green dinosaurs.
He voiced a character in Robots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Hey.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've not seen that for a while.
Yeah, this wasn't very well
Received.
Yeah.
Oh, and in Best of the Best,
I don't know what that one is.
5 American fighters make their way to Korea. I remember I saw it when I was in. It's got Jean-Claude. Is it Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I was going to say it's not Bloodsport, but
No, not Bloodsport.
It's going to have Jean-Claude Van Damme or Dolph Lundgren in it because they were always in those shit-kicking
Do
fighting.
you know what? It hasn't.
Really? It's not got either of them in it.
No, it's got Eric Roberts, Philip Reed, Chris Penn.
Oh, he would have been my next one because he used to be in everything. Like he'd go-
if it had Eric Roberts in it, then it was a B movie.
yeah,
I remember back in the early 90s,
oh, that was a long time ago.
we had a thing about watching all like the Jean-Claude Van Damme films like Bloodsport and all that, and it's one I remember seeing. Patriot Games he was in as well as
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the Hunt for Red October series.
Patriot Games
Yeah,
and Clear and Present
October.
And
Danger.
Clear and Present Danger. Yep.
Yeah, so he was in all like that sequence of films, yeah. So yeah, a lot of films that I don't remember him being in, but obviously he
I can't
was,
imagine that the Jack Ryan movies are the kind of thing that you'd watch, though, Sam.
What? I've seen Clear and Present Danger.
If he's in the other two,
What ones were they?
Hunt for Red October.
Yes, I've seen Hunt for Red October because it's the only Scottish one. It's only Russian with a Scottish accent.
Uh-huh.
Clear
Because Sean
and
Connery
Present Danger.
Sean Connery.
And Patriot Games.
and
Well,
Patriot
Yes,
Games.
I've seen Patriot Games as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep,
Oh,
I have
well
seen
done.
them. Have seen them. Not recently, but I have seen them.
Oh, I watch them all the time. They're my favourites.
No, I'm more murder documentaries, aren't they? So, like falling asleep to a bit of murder. By Dawn's Early Light is another one.
I don't know a lot of these movies.
What's that? I can't.
Isn't that
It's another Cold War
POW?
one.
What was it? Oh, I might like that then.
It's a
I'll have
Cold
to look
War one. A nuclear warhead launched by Soviet insurgents protesting the waning Cold War destroys the Ukrainian city of something.
Sounds very apt and up to date with what's going on in the world today.
Yeah.
I would be really surprised if it set up something.
Yeah, that's By Dawn's Early Light.
It's probably lucky Steve isn't here because he wouldn't have seen any of these movies.
No, I haven't
Oh,
even seen a lot of these.
it's
Classic Steve. Just never sees things. Like, Steve, what have you seen? You know,
Yeah,
just-
it's easier to write down a list of things he has seen.
He's got a list of stuff that he needs to watch.
Yeah.
well, yeah, he does. But here's the thing about Steve. We all know this. He's always on barbecue. He has these like, oh, I won't be here like today.
He is at a barbecue today.
I
Yeah,
agree. No, he is. He's always on what he calls barbecues. I don't know. Is he part of the Illuminati? Is he
No.
is he just, what does he do? Is he some part of some, is he a space alien? Is he a superhero? He's like, oh, sorry, I have and he's just like, doesn't know what to, a barbecue, and then he's off saving the world. I don't know. And I'm getting a little tired of it. I don't know. What do you all think?
Well, he's
If anything,
definitely
he's broken himself and he's laid in a puddle somewhere.
Steve, if you're listening, we're tired of you saving the world and being a superhero. Can you
He's
please
supposed to
just
be listening.
can you just come on the podcast and just talk to us and watch a movie once in a while?
I know.
Gee,
He's got.
man, my gosh.
He actually watched two of them the other week, wasn't it?
He watched
Oh.
two in
What are
one
you talking
day.
about?
Yeah, he
Did
watched
he?
two in
Did
one
he
day.
now?
Hang on, Jeff.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Have you seen the movie Candle Shoe?
No.
He has.
I will. No, but here's the thing. I made a promise a long time ago to never wear candles as shoes. So that's against my religion. So
The thing is, like, he watched it and then went and looked on Google Earth to see.
Oh, don't.
Is it
They're
good?
going down the Google Earth thing.
it's a good
Yeah.
movie.
I haven't watched it, but she talks about it all the time. So
All right, what
Candle
is it
is a
about?
brilliant film.
Win me over. What is it about? I love watching new movies.
It's a 1970s live action Disney film.
Okay.
And-
Oh.
Got Jodie
Yeah.
Foster in it.
With
Ooh, I
Brendan
love
Fraser,
that. I love those.
David Niven, and it's how two American con artists take this orphan off the streets, bring her to the UK, and to swindle a aristocratic old lady out of
Oh,
her
you-
fortune.
You had me at Swindle. So is that on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You had me at Swindle. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's called Candle Shoe.
I love the
We know.
70s.
You've
70s
said it about
Disney
a
live
million
action
times.
is my thing. I love it. My mom, like growing up, that's what you'd go down to the video store and you're like, well, what can we watch? And what could the kids watch or whatever. So, we had our section and it was like, oh, this looks interesting and it's about the wild or whatever. So I've watched a lot of 70s, 60s, 70s Disney live action movies. I love them. I love them. So
I like the cat from
that'd be
Outer Space.
wonderful to watch it.
One of our dinosaurs is missing, is
Missing.
another one I like.
Well, they filmed that up the road from where my mum lives, so.
Yeah.
Jason's pulling a face.
Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody do the dinosaur.
There's
I'm
a,
just trying
Why
to
are you
think how
guys
to
laughing
back
at me?
to,
What's funny about that? I'm just kidding.
now.
that's a great song.
I was like, I'm dead serious. What? I don't think that's funny. What's going? Why are you guys laughing? No, it is
Yeah.
a good song.
See, and this is where we have to like meet in the middle, like with the British humour, isn't it? Because we find
No, I love
many
British humour.
things- So many
like
things
that.
funny that aren't funny.
No, I know. That's why I said I watch a lot of British comedy shows, and I'm like the deadpan humor. It's like I get y'all. Don't worry.
Well,
We get it too. We just make fun of it.
Yeah.
No,
You should have heard him yesterday taking the mickey out of my accent again.
Yeah.
okay.
It's a lot better.
Oh, you
Jason.
lucky he's not here.
Yeah, just.
Oh, and I've
here.
reinstated the list.
Let's all
so
mute our mics while you guys just razz.
Have you reinstated the list?
Reinstated the list. He said he missed it.
Jeez.
Okay, so
Cool. Anyway, go, Jason, get back to what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what's everybody's favorite Darth Vader moment?
Oh, it's just so many.
So many.
The I Am Your Father one is absolute classic because when I was in the cinema, when did that come out? It was what, 8? Was it 78?
Wait, sorry.
When did Empire come out?
70,
Was it 8
79.
or 9?
79,
Yeah.
Yeah,
79
so
and then 81. Very Return.
It would have been 8 when it came out. That, when they were in that bit and the I am your father moment, was just like, there was like a hush that fell across the movie theatre, and then there was this gasp. And it was just like, whoa, because nobody saw that coming. I mean, there's loads of really cool Vader moments, but that one is obviously the classic. But seeing that on the big screen when you're like 8 years old and you're massively into sci-fi, which is weird, being a girl.
And like, also, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say, no. What was the actual line said?
No, I'm your father. I know, but
don't do that, Mr. Pedantic. I know every
you're
line
on this Mandela effect stuff. Okay, Luke, I'm your father versus no, I'm your father. All right, let's get off the conspiracy train here. But
no,
what
I
would say,
okay, fine.
But what I would say is, how interesting that is, your story, how cool it is that it wasn't like, oh, everything's spoiled nowadays, well before you get to the movie theater. It's like, you hop online, you're like, dang it. Someone spoils it. You get an article or there's spoilers. It's almost, you really have to work really, really hard not to get a movie spoiled for you. So that sense of that surprise, I don't think that happens anymore. I mean, maybe for some, but not for most. And I think during such a cool, when I heard you talk about that story, how cool is that? That everyone in the theater just gasped.
Yeah, because nobody had a clue.
Yeah, because you had a newspaper, you didn't have the internet, you had, you had entertainment, but none of that was going to spoil it, right? So you went into it just with fresh eyes, and that's something that none of us. I'm the worst. I spoil every movie for myself. I'm like, I want to know if it's good or not because I'm tired of wasting my money on stupid stuff that I don't like. So I spoil it, and I go, you know what? That's pretty good. I think I'll go to see that movie, and then I go see that movie. But I don't have that sense of blind trust into a narrative, a story, a movie where I go sit down and then I'm just like, no way, that I never would have thought that happened. And that's really cool that was your experience, I think.
Mine is actually kind of similar in a reverse kind of way, because it was in the end of Rogue One where it ties in to the first one. Nobody saw that happen.
I didn't see that either. So that didn't, I didn't know either. And that was pretty cool.
Well, that's what I mean. So like, even though we had the internet and everything, that was not something that I ever read about before that movie. So
yeah, me either.
I don't know if that was actually brought up. It wasn't spoiled, I guess,
Trying to dodge every spoiler to do with The Mandalorian season 1, because I didn't watch it until season 2 came out. I purposely didn't watch it and dodged everything so I could binge both seasons.
Oh yeah,
that was hell. But yeah, it's difficult. It was easier back in the 70s and 80s because we didn't
it was a lot easier. Yeah. I mean, the most you got was like kids talking about it in school.
Yeah.
And even then, you'd tell them to shut up and hit them with something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's so bad. Like they actually film wrong scenes or different versions of scenes just to make sure that.
I think they do that because they don't really know what they're doing. They're like, should we go this way, that way?
And
they're like, it's kind of like we'll figure it out later on.
Well,
test screenings. Be like,
like
this version or that one.
That depends on what studio you're talking about.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I think it was I think they did in this Deadpool, but the previous one they filmed alternative scenes. That's
all I would do.
Yeah.
If I was a film person, I'd just be a director. I'd be like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Like Indiana Jones, where he's like, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
We don't have any script.
Whatever.
Steve's just texts me back and he says, "Oh my God, how did you find out his secret?"
Yeah.
Well, Steve-O, you're not real. You don't really keep it a good secret, man. Like, of all the superheroes I know, you're kind of the worst, dude. Like,
he's the kind of guy who rips his shirt open and they're like,
no, he's the one that's like too lazy to button up his top button, so that S is just standing out. It's like, Steve-O, like, come on, man. Like, we're all trying to pretend here. You know, it's like
Well, what was
barbecue
the shirt he
man,
was wearing yesterday?
barbecue man,
Oh, what,
saving the world.
Steve just doing Steve
Barbecue
thing?
at a time.
Yeah. That's the superhero. He's just Steve.
Steve
Just
just
Steve
doing
doing
Steve's thing.
Steve
Yeah,
thing.
that's what we think. I'm
That's
not
a
One of those
buying
things
cool
happens to be a
shirt.
barbecue
Yeah,
and
I'm not
going to the
buying.
casino.
Yeah, don't forget the going to the casino.
I mean,
Yeah, but I think just that first seeing and hearing Darth Vader as a kid.
yeah,
Oh, what, when he comes onto the ship?
Yeah, just that first presence of him as a kid had such a big effect. You're
He
like,
pretty much force choked someone straight away as well, didn't he?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
Which
why
was-
I like the Rogue One scene, because it's right before that.
Yeah.
And when you see that and connect it with that, it changes the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I've
real
only just
seamless.
fallen in love with Rogue One.
Do you all
Taken
think? Here's a question. Do you all think there is enough? Who? I think of I'm a voice guy. You know, like I do voice acting stuff, and so I'm just in love with voices. I hear voices. I hear and I fall in love. Is there who nowadays can you turn to that really has a sort of that level? Like there's other people that are like, oh, they got a great voice, but
Yeah.
his voice.
I can only think of one other person.
Just who's
Morgan
that
Freeman.
person for you?
Well, he was the brother of Mufasa.
Okay.
Do you know who that was?
Jeremy
Irons.
Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I've got a couple that come close, but nothing really there. We mentioned Morgan Freeman earlier.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Yeah.
But then I'm also going to go with Mike Rowe. He hasn't been a lot, but that voice, that tenor of his voice is really
Dirty Jobs.
along those lines. Yeah.
Does he do a lot of voice acting?
He does a lot of narration, and he does. That's mostly
Yeah.
the trained opera singer, I believe.
Yeah, I believe.
But
it.
yeah,
He did a lot of those early Discovery shows. He was the narrator through those.
Yeah.
And I watched a lot of them. I mean, Dirty Jobs I watched for a very long time.
Yeah.
And
No,
anytime
he's got a great voice.
Yeah, anytime you hear that, I mean, but still, it's difficult because it's not an iconic role. Like if you try to put him now, I mean, I think that's maybe why James Earl Jones is a little bit different, because we all put him with like a very iconic character. Like if Mike Rowe, like even Morgan Freeman, Morgan Freeman has a body of work. Like it's hard to pinpoint him to one character, which I mean, it's good, but it's like I guess it's difficult for me to go like James Earl Jones and Darth Vader. They are the same. You know, I mean, you can't separate them. Is what I mean. It's difficult. Morgan Freeman can do. There's no other voice actor right now that I think you could say is to that level where you cannot. They're that iconic because of the character they play, voice wise.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't anybody else out there that I can match right now. And
yeah, only like cartoon characters maybe, but
and cartoon characters are fine, but that's a lot of them are trick voices. That James Earl Jones voice is just James Earl Jones, and that's what.
Yeah, and again, you go back to it. You can put a picture of Darth Vader almost anywhere in the world, and people are gonna know what it is.
Yeah.
Period.
I know what he sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. I know what he sounds like.
Exactly. So yeah. So there's no other voice actor that I can think of currently that is that degree.
It's interesting. Before he passed, I sort of had an inkling that something was up. He was thinking about why, because he signed over the rights to his voice to Disney. And AI is a big thing now, and that's going to put me and a bunch of other people out of a job in the future. That's fine. It's just going to get better and better. So it's always like one up as voice actors, like, can I out Goofy? It's like, okay, like, can I out Goofy a computer? Not Bill. I'll never out Goofy Bill, but I can out Goofy a computer.
Well, can a computer out Goofy Bill?
That's the inverted question, right? But then with James Earl Jones, like, who could ever? There's nobody that does a voice match for that, and nobody can. You can do a Donald Duck, you could do a Mickey. Goofy's very tough. That's where my neck of the woods comes in, because I'm like, holy, that's where I'm a one trick pony. I'm like, I only do one really, like, I give all my time and attention to one voice and one voice only, because I'm like, I don't want a robot doing this. And so I would much rather, 10, 20 years down the line, I'd be like, okay, all right, here we go. But with James Earl Jones, I've never heard a voice match for James Earl Jones ever. And I think that there was some wisdom in saying, okay, if we want to preserve this voice, I think there's wisdom in two ways. Wisdom could be like allowing new people to take over voices. It's more organic. It's got more heart to it. It's not just, oh, here's your voice AI voice clone. But when it comes to James Earl Jones, I've never heard a voice match for him. And I haven't really looked, but maybe that is wisdom too, to say, wow, he is very, very unique. There isn't anybody that can match his voice. How do we preserve it? And I'm sure that was a conversation he had with Disney a while back, and they're like, let's record you for hours and hours and hours and hours. And so now they have all the samples to say, well, we love your voice, and after you're well and gone, we want to preserve your legacy.
I mean, I think that was really very savvy of Disney to do that, because Star Wars fans can be some of the most purist and
I don't know what you're talking about, Sam.
Fans ever. You are one of them. And they don't like Star Wars being messed with. They don't like change.
Don't mind change as long as it's not mucking it up.
Yeah, but I mean, the argument of it's not canon, it is canon, it doesn't follow the books, it does follow the books. And take something that is so iconic, so identifiable as Darth Vader's voice,
right,
and then give it to another actor.
It
would never work. And same with Mark Hamill. Like, when I think of Luke, I'd much rather see a full movie of a CGI Luke in front of me than some other actor portraying Luke.
Only person that could portray a Luke the same age as he was is Sebastian Stan. They look very similar. He's the only one. Other than that, it's got to be CGI.
I agree. And if there's anyone to pass that torch to, Sebastian Stan would be that person. But even then, I'm like, can you alter his face a little bit more? Just like, can you just tweak it so it looks a little bit more like early on Mark Hamill? Like, I get that Star Wars purity. I actually get that. I understand that.
It's like no one else could play Leia. It had to be Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job with the CGI after she passed, just to finish that film. So yeah, but again, it's keeping that purist bit, but also letting the characters actually have a lifespan.
Yeah.
So they are passing in time, which we all do. And it's nice that they've let that happen. And it's not just the fact they're keeping the character alive to serve their purpose.
But there's not really I think Disney could have been one or two ways. One is, hey, everyone, we've acquired the rights to Star Wars. And just like we do in Disney, voice acting or anything else, there's a effort to communicate. We're going to pass the torch. We're going to pass the torch to this character and this character. It's about keeping the franchise alive. But how do you do that? These aren't cartoon characters. These are live action, which makes it very hard. So you can pass the torch to somebody like Sebastian Stan, which I think would have made sense. But they try to do that with, the Han Solo movie. And it tanked. It tanked hard. And that, I think, was their attempt to be like, hey, you like Han Solo, here's your new Han Solo. And everyone's like, not my Han Solo. No way, man. And nobody bought into that. And so I think there is a more pure, and it's harder because it's sort of like, it's not only voices like in cartoons where you're like, here's your new Mickey voice, here's your new Donald. You know, here's new Goofy, where it's like, okay, but the characters looks the same. With something like Star Wars, it's not just the voice or the acting; it is the entire persona, the presence, the acting. It's the appearance, and people don't. I wouldn't, that, and Star Wars fans want consistency,
So
and I get that. I get that.
In terms of Solo, there was another younger actor who looked and sound like Harrison.
Yeah, Anthony and Gruber, whatever, or no,
Yeah, something. And everybody wanted him to play it.
Oh, he was great. He was. I know.
And I think that's why people sort of backlash towards it.
I know, because I'm like, that guy, I'm a big Blade Runner fan, and Indiana Jones too. I'm like, but when I saw him, like he on it was with Blake Lively, it was God, this movie. Oh,
yeah,
I'm so stupid.
But I just saw like an interview with him, and he was like,
and he's like, he does his Harrison Ford. Well, he actually interviewed for it, and they're like, no, thanks. I'm like, oh, you just messed up. Exactly. Everyone would have been. I would have gone, because I was following him for years, being like, that guy is as much Harrison Ford as Harrison Ford, and I thought he was great. And I don't know why he didn't get the interview. Maybe sometimes you get so nervous, you just have a bad audition. That happens, and maybe that's what happened to him, but that stinks, like.
Yeah, but it's not like he wasn't an actor already, like.
Well, I know, but I don't, whatever it was, but it just, I think, I don't know.
I was going back to what you're talking about with James Earl Jones' voice. Trying to think back if there was any comedians that I knew that do impersonations that did that, and I can't think of one.
No.
So
not comedians, just anybody.
Well, right? I just mean like everybody does
a voice match. We call it in the voice acting world. We call it a voice match.
Right. Well, I'm just saying like I can't think of anybody who does an impersonation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of hit it on the head on that one.
So it's kind of like, what a special voice, what a special man.
Yeah. They've managed to find somebody that can portray the presence of Darth Vader in the costume after Dave Prowse has gone. Spencer Walding is one of those that we know.
Yes,
he pulls that off really well because he studied. I mean, he knew Dave Prowse anyway, and he studied how he worked and that kind of stuff. But there's no one that can match that voice. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the suit is very much, if you fit the suit, then.
Yeah, that's kind of like Chewbacca as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the guy that's taken over from Chewbacca spent I don't know how long.
Yeah, but he studied with him. He was a stunt double for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but with those characters, it's basically if the body fits the suit, then pretty much you've got Chewbacca or you've got.
Right, but Chewbacca has visual images. That's not just fake. That's coming from them. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the voice, nothing, no one can match that voice.
Yeah, it's not happening.
No.
You're right. There's nobody that does any kind of impression ever that I've seen that can pull his voice off.
Yeah. Well, this might be a good place to end it then, because we're just saying it right there. No one can replace it. So
no.
Is there anything else you guys want to say?
Don't know.
Yeah. Other than he'll be missed. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yep.
All right.
In the universe that's not going to ever be filled, is there?
She left.
No, that's her internet kicked her out.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I guess that's it.
Yeah. I've lost connection.
All right. Yeah, like Udi said, he will be missed. So, R.I.P.
Yep.
And she's back.
Oh, well, they're messaging you then. You're back.
No, I did send you a message. I don't know what happened. It says
I saw your message.
Oh, right. Yeah, it said that I'd lost connection. Don't know what happened.
It's all right. I think we're just going to end this one here. So, he said he will be missed, and rest in
Very
peace.
much.
And we'll see you on the next show. See you later. Thanks for
Bye.
joining.